Well, we knew War of the Rohirrim was going to be a disaster, and it looks like they're kind of admitting it. This is the thing about the woke in Hollywood and they always kind of tell on themselves. They can't help it. They want to brag about the fact that their work is nothing like the work that it's supposed to be doing for the property it's supposed to be on. To them, it's like a rite of passage. Like they're creating their own thing, even though it's not their own thing. Really, they're just bastardizing something else, and they can't create their own thing, which is the whole problem that all these people have. They just really have no ability to create. They're a bunch of hack writers who are just trying to coast off the Tolkien name, and yet at the same time denigrate the Tolkien name, erase the Tolkien name, and try to make themselves like the hero of this story. It's a very bizarre, narcissistic situation that we have here. But as you can see, the War of Rohirrim is going to be a Lord of the Rings skin suit. We knew this. It is dead on arrival. And we covered just the other day just how poor the box office is looking for the release of this film because of that. Nobody wants to see this. Nobody is interested. One, this art style doesn't really work for Lord of the Rings. I mean, I actually like this art style in general, but it's just not correct for Lord of the Rings, let's be honest. And number two, they just are bastardizing the lore even worse than Rings of Power in a lot of the ways. So let's get into the news in just a moment as we talk about all things in science fiction and fantasy. Please smash the like and subscribe button here, guys. We're getting very close to 60 or 50,000 subscribers, and I really appreciate you guys for being there. I am a fantasy writer myself, and if you like swashbuckling adventure and fun, this is not a Tolkien-esque book. I would never say it is when it's not, but it is a fun swashbuckling adventure. It is an airship crew that goes out and fights monsters, and of course ends up having to deal with a couple of different wars over the course of the series as it escalates. The country of Rislandia gets war-torn like none other. And I did, as I got into book 3 when it gets into the war, I guess I do have a little Tolkien-esque influence because I know that Lord of the Rings had a lot of thought put into it regarding World War I, and of course Tolkien's experience through the horrors of that. And I watched that Peter Jackson documentary on World War I, just showing the horrors of it, and I did incorporate a little bit of that into book 3 once we get into those sort of war scenarios. But that's an aside. So really, this is thoughtful fantasy. If you like good world building, if you like good characters, you're going to enjoy this. The book 1 is on sale, and thanks to you guys, my main subscribers here, if you went to the community tab yesterday, you saw we were pushing to get this book up on the #1 bestseller list. We got it there. We were just dominating all of the steampunk categories on Amazon yesterday. So thank you for your support. It's in the description below, ebook, print, and audio, and grab the whole series, guys. You're going to love this. It makes a great Christmas gift. Appreciate you for being there. So Philippa Boyens, the co-writer of Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings trilogy and producer on the upcoming War of the Rohirrim animated film, revealed another massive change the film is making compared to Tolkien's original story. These people, again, just don't respect the lore, and it really shows. Speaking with Animation Magazine, Boyens claims one of the main themes of the film is asking the question, at what point will reason overcome insanity? It's a question she should have been asking herself, given Hollywood continues down a path of insanity by ignoring faithful adaptations and choosing to inject love stories with immoral messaging, whether that be feminism, identity politics, or gender ideology. To prove the point, Boyens went on, our antagonist, Wolf, literally turns on his main general and says, "You think I want to be here?" He literally can't let go of this. Literally. He can't let go of the siege or will to conquer these people and destroy them, even though it would be wiser course, and he's already won. For those who are unfamiliar with Tolkien's story, which is found in Appendix A of Return of the King, Wolf does not turn on the main general after he leads an army of Dunderlings and enemies of Gondor against Rohan. He certainly has not won the war yet. Oops, it was completely the opposite in the actual story and the actual lore. Why do they do this? It's really insane. There's no reason to do it. After defeating Helm Hammerhand and the forces of Rohan in a battle of Crossings of Isen, he splits his army, with half pursuing Hammerhand and the Hornburg, and the other half leads to Edoras. Wolf leads the forces to Edoras and takes the city. Tolkien wrote, Wolf took Edoras and sat in Meduseld and called himself the king. There, Haleth Helm's son fell last of all, defending the doors. As for the forces of Hornburg, a siege is conducted, But long winter sets in, and Rohan is covered in snow for 5 months and causes both Helm's defenders, as well as the invading army, to suffer losses from the cold and lack of provisions. Furthermore, Wolf is defeated in Arroz after the winter broke when Freyolaf, the nephew of Helm, came down from Dunharrow, which many had fled, and with a small company of desperate men, he surprised Wolf in Meduseld and slew him and regained Arroz. Wow. So quite the opposite of the story. This is the latest in growing list indicating the film is going to use the name Lord of the Rings as a skin suit rather than being tangentially related to Tolkien's work. This is exactly what we saw with Rings of Power as well. They just took the name, they put generic fantasy setting on there, they used some of the names like Middle-earth and the like, but it just does not feel like Lord of the Rings whatsoever. The characters don't act like they're in Lord of the Rings whatsoever. Galadriel especially is one of the most mischaracterized characters out there, and they've just done terrible, terrible things. And don't even get me started on what they did to Sauron, but oh well. This is what they're doing more and more, and it's what I said at the beginning of the video exactly. These people want to remake these things in their own image. It's not about actually doing faithful adaptations and trying to make the best films possible, because a faithful adaptation would be the best films possible. Instead, it's about leaving their mark on things, subverting expectations. They love to say that in Hollywood, and like I said, it's a narcissism, because these people don't have the ability to create themselves. They know that if they made their own fantasy film, that it wouldn't sell very well, and they wouldn't get it off the ground. And so they just take these properties and they try to do their own thing with it and try to be the person who's the creator so they can uphold themselves and pat themselves on the back. But really, they just take something that everybody loves and turns it into crap. And that's what's going on. In an interview with Entertainment Weekly back in June, she explained why they chose to make an unnamed character in Appendix A the main protagonist of the film. In the appendices where the story is drawn from, we get these quite interestingly drawn male characters, and then we get this young female character who's never named. That was really interesting to me. Imagine that, taking the one character that was not a part of this and then actually making it into your own thing because you want to push a feminist agenda. We know Helm has a daughter. We know she was central to the conflict that happened, but myself, and especially screenwriter Phoebe Gittins, were drawn to her. Of course, two women trying to make it look like me. Every single time one of these people come out here, it's a self-insert as well, because they just have to make a book of themselves, because it's about immortalizing themselves. Like I said, it's narcissism. These people have no talent. They have no ability to create characters. They can just do themselves every single time. I always laugh about this stuff in the comic books, especially when they put this stuff out there, because it's very, very clear what's happening when they make new characters, and it's like, oh, it's the black gay spinstress Spider-Man now, who's really a transgender. It's like, oh, and who's the author? It's a black gay transgender person. Oh, shocking. We see this so much in that medium, and it does transfer into Hollywood as well. We see this exact same thing here. It's very clear that this is what this is right now. It's a self-insert. We could feel the weight of being that unnamed daughter. We could feel the weight of being that unnamed daughter. Yeah, because you're like an unnamed person in Hollywood who nobody knows who they are, which immediately piqued our interest. Who was she? How did she live? Also, there was a report of Drew Taylor at the Wrap, who claims that Hera, the protagonist of the film, is able to ride horses and communes with great eagles. Furthermore, she calls on the power of seemingly long-lost tribe of female warriors to drive out Dunledings from Rohan. Lots of female fun. This recent clip from the film also sees Wolf acting on the manner that Boyan describes. It also shows Hera absurdly challenging Wolf to single combat. To make matters worse, after Wolf rightly mocks and derides her challenge, he eventually accepts the challenge despite advice to the contrary from an advisor or general. It begs the question, at what point will reason overcome insanity? So you can tell that this is just going to be a complete train wreck of a movie. They don't have a real plot. They don't have an idea what they're doing. They're just trying to change Tolkien and make it into a self-insert like they do every single time. Leave a comment down below with what you think about this, my friends. Hit that like and subscribe button. And the most interesting part about this is I am often told I write female characters much better than anybody in Hollywood. And you could see that I treat a female character in this book the way that she should be, and is not turned into some ridiculous thing where she's doing single combat with trained soldiers, because that's insane. That's not what a little girl would do. She'd get killed. And of course, I'm very true to that in this situation. You'll love it, and check this out. This is an airship adventure. It's got a wonderful crew, wonderful cast of characters who are very lovable, who you'll enjoy. It's in 6-book series on ebook, print, and audio on Amazon. Check out For Steam and Country. Support our channel today. Really appreciate you for being there, and we'll be back soon.